Good evening, everybody. In conversations with a few of you, I thought it might be beneficial to give a short video, kind of describing what imaginative apologetics is and what the technique is, because a lot of that is what's undergirding the approach to this course. So I want to start off, as we always want to start off in theology, with biblical grounding. And so this is 2 Samuel chapter 12. Many of you may know this story. David has just finished committing adultery with Bathsheba and sending her rightful husband Uriah the Hittite off to be murdered. And so the prophet Nathan has been sent by God to confront David about this sin. And this is where we start chapter 12. The Lord sent Nathan to David. And when he came to him, he said, "There were two men in a certain town, one rich and the other poor. The rich man had a very large number of sheep and cattle, but the poor man had nothing except one little ewe lamb he had bought. He raised it, and it grew up with him and his children, shared his food, drank from his cup, and even slept in his arms. It was like a daughter to him. Now a traveler came to the rich man, but the rich man stopped from taking one of his own sheep or cattle to prepare a meal for the traveler who had come to him, and instead he took the ewe lamb that belonged to the poor man and prepared it for the one that had come to him. David burned with anger against the man, and he said to Nathan, 'As surely as the Lord lives, the man who did this must die. He must pay for that lamb 4 times over, because he did such a thing and had no pity.' And then Nathan said to David, 'You are the man.'" And that's imaginative apologetics right there. It's a story that Nathan tells in order to have David's heart resonate with the truth that would otherwise be rejected. And it's based in this Augustinian notion that the reasoning process follows the heart and not the other way around. We rationalize what we love. We don't just immediately love the things that reason presents to us. I mean, that's the whole problem with politics in modern America. And that's not how human psychology actually works. The fundamental problem of sin is disordered desire. Our loves are out of place. And so our minds, which are also corrupted, they follow this disordered desire. And that's how conspiracy theories work too, by the way. We just continue to rationalize because we're holding on to something in our hearts. So here in the Nathan and David passage, we see what the philosopher Soren Kierkegaard comes to call indirect discourse. He says, look, when you come to a person, you confront them with the way that they need to admit their wrongdoing, that they make a deep change in their life and their perspective on the world. You cannot make that direct assault. Their walls are up, and those walls are very strong. And you have to get around the walls somehow in order to touch the heart. And so for imaginative apologetics, the literary technique, literature, is the prime vehicle for this, because it's through stories that these things resonate with us. And these stories resonate because we are narrative beings at our core. We are hardwired to respond to these things. Shifting tacks here slightly, there's a few concepts that in technical parlance we call the transcendentals. Some of the 3 that are most recognized are truth, goodness, and beauty. And those transcendentals, they're ultimately unified in God, but we can distinguish them conceptually. And when we encounter each of these, there's an appropriate response for them. So you respond to truth with agreement, and you respond to goodness with admiration, with imitation. And there are other forms of apologetic that touch on these. Your standard apologetics, the classical, the evidential approaches, they operate through truth. And then there's your witness, your character, that backs up what you say and that validates your claim, and that operates through goodness. But there's that third transcendental, beauty. You respond to beauty with desire. And so here's where we tie back into imagination, because as we said, our fundamental problem in sin is disordered desire. We do not love the thing that we ought to love. So the imagination is a vehicle for producing forms of beauty. Beauty creates desire. So now when you have a Christian imagination that's also yoked together with truth and goodness, then you begin to be able to rehabilitate the desires of your listeners through this captivation by beauty. And sometimes the goal, which is the love of God, is explicit, and sometimes it's not. And that depends on a lot of factors, but that's what we're after here in this course. We're asking the question of the literature that we're reading. How effective is it at getting around those walls and instilling a desire for this sort of a world, for this sort of truth and goodness through the beauty that it manifests? How well does this literature create the right sorts of desires within its readers? But that's only the first step, because the intellect obviously has something to do here as well. It's a 1-2 punch. You find the thing that's captivating the desires of the heart. You're wishing that such a world were true, and then you come along, you explain, you reason out how in fact it is true, and it's available for you to enter into. Now, obviously, there's a lot more to be said here. That's a brief sort of 10,000-foot overview of the practice. We begin with identifying how effective this literature is at shaping desire, and how easily it leads into these conversations on the intellectual level that would convince us to follow these desires, that they do in fact correspond to reality. So that's imaginative apologetics, or at least that's my way of doing it. Let me know if this is helpful. If you have any further questions, we could fold questions like that into our forum posts for this week, or you can email me one-on-one if you're still skeptical, if you're looking for further resources. But hopefully this has been a helpful overview of the methodology and the sort of key assumptions behind this course that are leading the sort of questions that we're asking in the discussion forums and in the essays.